And sitting down in the kitchen, there'd be the seller and the agent. Sometimes they'd have other family members there. So any decision makers were there. You sell yourself and you sell your clients.
Yeah.
So I actually
in a way,
it.
yeah.
I love. So we take one piece of the house or something that really resonate with your clients, and you would physically walk through the whole offer. They would call us back to see if they wanted a second round, and you would see cars leave, and you would
know instantly how well you're. I'd be knocking at the doors. You get out.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Welcome. It's David Cinelli here with another episode of DC Talks with David Cinelli. This is episode 73. I know.
Congratulations.
Really, congratulations, right? Like what an interesting title of our podcast, right? Couldn't be more creative.
Doing all good.
Well, we have amazing guests with us today from Signature. These are co-realtors of mine. They've been a great group. We got Nima, and we have I was calling you D. You like okay. Devany. I was gonna say now you messed me up. I know.
Matter. It's perfect.
It's perfect. Yeah. But you guys, so I've known you guys for Nima and I have been talking for a number of years.
Yeah. Since I don't know, it's been way well
2017,
before.
Nima? That classic year.
Yeah. Well, before COVID and stuff, we started to get, and during COVID, we were having mutual listings. We were talking with each other, and that's how we got to know each other. And then even through Vision 360, because you use Adam a lot too. Yeah. So that's how we got to know each other. And but you guys have been knocking it out of the park long before I even showed up on the scene.
We tried, but market has been up and down, man. It's
really challenging us.
It's 1 year it's good, 1 year is bad. I remember because I started going full force 2016, and 2017 was the year market went up. We hit the Chairman's Club, and back then I was just doing it on my own. And that's when I got an admin to speed things along. Yeah. And then the admin wanted to go become get her a master's degree somewhere. She was way overqualified to be my admin.
They're always overqualified at the NK group. And
then that's when she stepped in and
showed up on the doorstep.
Yeah, because we're
take me in.
We had at our brokerage again. We're Royal LePage Signature, and we have this great group, which is our leaders group. So all of us high, top producers, they bring us and have economic analysis. And you and I were talking about this, and we're like, how the hell did you two get together? Because I didn't know the story, right? Because I remember seeing Nima before, just on himself, and all of a sudden I see this beautiful girl showing up, and I'm like, whoa, where did this come from?
So Nima is well surrounded. He has a lot of beautiful women around, but
that's true too. Yeah, you do. Congrats.
But I'm in first place after mom, so that's for sure, fine. Yeah. But we met actually. He was having a housewarming party, and I was studying for my real estate license here in Toronto, doing my exam the very next day. And I was like, "Bye, guys!" I brought my books to the party. I was like, "I gotta go. I got my exam in the morning." He's like, "Who is this girl?" He's like, "No, stay, have chicken wings." I later found out he has a crazy obsession with chicken wings.
Love chicken wings.
Really?
Yeah, St. Louis.
Yeah.
Every Sunday I used to do it till I got pretty fat, then I stopped it.
I was gonna say that can't be good for you.
So we had a lot of learning things that day. We learned a lot about each other we didn't realize. And then he had his team. I was friends with people on the team. And then he's like, you know what? You should come work for me. And I was like, I don't know. It's that thing you don't really want to do, but sure. And my man at the time was absolutely infatuated with him. When he met him, he was like, "Can I add him on Instagram?" I'm like, "Can you calm down and not make us look like losers?" And that's it. So the rest is history. He called me up and said, "Hey, I want to meet with you." And so I said, "Okay." He's like, "I need an assistant." And I was like, "Well, that's not going to work." And I was like, "Actually, you know what? I'll be your assistant for 6 months, and then I want a spot on your team." And he was like, "Well, we're not really hiring right now, but okay, sure." Mm-hmm. And I got really comfortable as an assistant, learned everything I needed to know. It was very immersive. Mm-hmm. And then he's like, "You got to get out of your spot." And I was like, no, I'm really comfortable here right now. I'm kind of good.
Yeah.
He's like, no, get your ass up. We're going. Can I say ass on this
podcast?
Yeah,
we say, okay. We swear all the time.
He's like, "Get your ass up and we're going to work together now. And this is going to be a thing." And I was like, "Okay, great."
Were you scared shitless or what?
Yeah.
He's his personality is more jump in, figure it out. And I'm more rational, wait, no, hold on. That, pump the brakes.
His way is more accurate on how to do in this business. If you wait too long to do your way,
the balance.
You'll never jump in.
Yeah.
What year was this, by the way?
Well, I keep telling people we're together for 3 years, but it's been a long time. I've been
2018, 19.
Yeah.
It was that you became. So actually, there's a little difference because when she started coming to her, like when I hired her, I started giving people like a personality test. So she was the first one that took the personality
famous
test
personality test.
in the
So a real personality test.
yeah, real personality test. I think it was called the DISC test.
Yes.
That's what it is. And then she did that. And then when I went through it, I'm like, okay, so she's definitely not an admin. She's a salesperson. I told her, I'm like, listen, based on what I'm reading, which I might be reading it wrong because you're the first person doing it, but you're not an admin quality. But listen, I need an admin, and you're doing it.
Yeah.
But after a year, we'll transition you out. And remember, she was like, you know what, I want to sell too. Yeah. So
I was a realtor back in Montreal though. So like rewind, I did real estate. I came from a real estate background. I was taking some time off.
So did you grow up? Were you born in Montreal?
I was born in Montreal. Yeah. Born and raised in Montreal. I've been here since 2015, 2016.
So high school there, right?
Everything there. My whole life is there.
Did you like go to university or what did you do there?
Yeah, I did. I had a salon. I went to real estate school, became a realtor there. I had a partner. I love partnership apparently. And that's it. And then, but I'm really like, this is like, it couldn't have happened better if I planned it.
So why did you move to Toronto? You keep jumping. Oh, wait, like, I know the story. You were a salon.
Okay. It's not about me though.
It's about both of you because I'm going to talk to Nima too. Because Nima was top 30 under 30, I think, for a number of years.
For a lot of years. Until
years.
He got cut because he's older now.
Hey, listen, stop. Because I'm older than both of you guys.
I never made it to any 30 under 30 anything, even when I was.
I started at 36, so I was.
Kudos to you, Nima.
Yeah. I started too young.
Carrying the team as usual.
Well, I started at 36. I had no chance. So.
There you go. Under 40.
Yeah. No. Anyway, but
category.
Is it a category?
We should make one.
They should make one. Yeah. So okay. So you had a hair salon.
Yeah. Oh, so I had a beauty background when I was really young, like during high school even. And that's it. So it kind of bounced around from whatever made me money, so and I did.
In Montreal, what made you want to be a realtor as opposed to having a hair salon?
A bad breakup, actually. I had a bad breakup, and he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I'm thinking of real estate," and he's like, "You look like a realtor. You'd probably be good at it." And I was like, "Excuse you?
What does a realtor look like?"
I'll show you, mister. And that's how it happened. Yeah. Huh. And the very next morning, I booked my real estate course.
And then you came to Toronto because another man?
Like
she Did I bless you on that one?
It was actually, yes. I was running from another Montreal man, and I came here. We were traveling back and forth. He had a lot of business here, and I planted a lot of roots here. So it just felt like a safe place for me to be. And I got a job offer for a personal assistant role. Ended up dilly-daddling here for a bit. And then I was like, you know what? The market seems to be booming. And I'm going to dip my toes into the real estate market here. So I did my course, Inject Nima Khadem.
Yeah.
And then years later, apparently, here we are.
And there you are. So Nima, what kind of a background did you come from? You said you started early. Again, so Nima is a top producing agent in our office. You have been ever since you've been a realtor, ever since I've known you.
Since you've been born.
You do great work. I love it. But give us a background. Where did you come from? High school? Like, where did you grow up?
So, I mean, I grew up in North York, Bayview, New York. I went to York Mills Collegiate. Then I went to business school, School of Business. Mm-hmm. And the idea was that I would go back to Iran, but I kind of stuck here because my parents' family started investing in real estate, but I started gravitating towards construction. I like building homes and renovating homes. So I ended up getting my Terrion license and started building homes.
Get out.
Yeah.
He has an impressive background.
So I actually had my real estate license back in university. So 2009, I got my real estate license. And I remember I went around, I talked to maybe 12 brokerages. And I went to Royal LePage Signature. And back then, Shops at Don Mills was not built. It was before the Don Mills Center or whatever it was. And their office was all the way at the back next to a beer store. So I went there and they had about, I think I was the 119th agent or someone told me that. It's like, oh, we have about 120 agents. And then when I was talking to an ad, it's like, oh yeah, I think you're the 119th agent or something like that. I'm like, okay. But anyway, so I didn't do anything really with it. I just got it because I wanted to get the sold data because I was helping a lot of builders build or buy or do renovations. So I wanted to know what the end product would be. So I needed the sold data. I wanted to see what's going on. And at that point, the real estate agent we're using was not on top of things. I think he was a part-time agent. A property would come.
We love part-time agents.
You know how it is. And at that point, I didn't even know. I thought that's the thing. You can just have it as a side gig. So we would call him about a property that I would see in the morning. and it would be sold by night. And this guy would be like, oh, it's 7 p.m. It's like, oh, well, it's sold. Next one. And I'm like, that's not what it should be. So anyways, I got my license. And the
Nima
funny thing,
always doing the right thing, frustrated.
Yeah.
He's like, this is not right.
Yeah. So I was like, listen, I got to get my license. This is like ridiculous. And I didn't get it so that I get the commission. I got it because I wanted to find the properties. And it's funny because for the next few transaction, we still used him to do the transaction because I'm like, you know what, like I don't have the experience. Maybe, let him negotiate, not knowing, I would probably negotiate better. Yeah. But anyways, so finished university, continued, doing the construction side. And 2016, things didn't make sense. I'm like, you know what? Every project that I'm looking at, all the builders that I knew on, whatever project that I would see around me, if anyone kept it for another 6 months, they would have made the same amount of money as they built a house. So, and I went back and I saw like, the projects that were getting done back in 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, everything made sense. But now the money was made on the land. So I'm like, you know what, let me just stop this. And thank God, because then we went to the 2017 and a lot of people that bought towards the end of 2016, beginning of 2017, they just like got demolished because the drop was so massive at that point, especially in the areas like Bayview and York Mills, Avenue Road, all these people or like Willowdale. Like I remember someone bought a land for $3.2 million in Willowdale. They sold the house for 3.4. Finished. It was like it was just like
we're in
like
similar markets.
You can't recover.
I'm like,
well, when people are looking at when they bought in the end of 2021 and 2022, I just tried to sell one we bought in 2021 for what we paid 1.57. So we had a bidding war list of 149. Neighbors sold something similar, but we should probably get 1.6, 1.7. People are lowballing us now in this market. I don't think people are like, the market's still not
fully
it's
there.
Stronger, but it's still not like where we were, right? And we have to wrap our heads around that. But sorry, let me
it just didn't make sense. Yeah, and so I kind of stopped that, and what I did was I just like realized like land development and like the development process side of it is where the majority of the money is made, at least as a smaller builder. Because if you're doing, mass quantity, building a subdivision is a totally different ballgame. But if you're doing custom homes, spec homes, is not the same. So anyways, so I got out of that.
But I also warn, I don't know if you do this now too, but when people come to me for specs, I always say like, got to be careful unless you're in the business of building houses. Like
I call him, he's the phone call.
Yeah. I just doesn't make specs. Like I play hockey with a guy, and I think I told this, I don't know the guys before, and like, and he was telling me he doesn't get out of bed unless he's building a house, 3,000, 3,500, and it's going to cost $2 million now. I'm like, what? And so it's over $600 a square foot. He goes, I can't make money unless.
For sure.
And I'm like, so if you're looking to do a quick flip, maybe like but unless you're in the business, there's no money, there's no skin in the game. It's impossible in this type of market to do that.
No, I mean,
agreed.
Those who are building it, they're all building it. I mean, I was the one-offs, so that's a totally different.
Were you doing it for end users at that point?
Pardon?
Were you doing it for end users?
No, we would just be specs. Like we would do either like build and sell, or it would be mostly like someone say, hey, listen, I need a custom house built in this area, and then we would just start that to finish. I would manage it for them. So that was the process. But again, there was not much money in it because you could hire a GC to stand there for the entire year for like 50,000 maybe. Yeah. And we ended up doing that. I'm like, you know what? I make more money just selling real estate than like staying there. So stopped at 2000, I think it was 15-ish. We stopped that. And so got into real estate full-time 2016. And
he's never slept since.
And I've never slept since. Pretty much, yeah. And it's funny because I did that and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do it for a short period of time, get back into real estate development and whatnot and like focus on that. And I think I was just talking to my dad like a few months ago. I'm like, it's been like 7 years that I've been doing this. And it was supposed to be a 2 or 3 year thing and I'd be out of it. But like now I'm too deep into it to go out.
Yeah.
So anyways, now...
But you also, I think you like it as well. It seems like
I like it.
He's making it seem like he's traumatized. Like he likes the abuse.
I know. It was only supposed to be 2 years. How dare I still make all this money doing this?
He likes the abuse.
I love it. But it's just like, it's too, like, that's the whole point right now. Like I'm trying to grow the team so that, not have me running around town. Cause like just even beginning of COVID, when like we were in the lockdown, I would be doing showings in, let's say, all the way in Etobicoke, Scarborough, downtown, Richmond Hill. Same. I remember in one day I did 36 showings It was
I know
crazy.
who that client was. That's why in my head I'm laughing.
Wait, 36 with one client?
No.
No,
There was
but
like
that day, that was-
five clients, I think there
that
was,
one
or
day.
6 clients, but one of them, like I did like 6 stations, but it was condos. Like, we were going condo, like see 4 in one.
But still,
4 in
like,
another one.
I saw during COVID, I was selling up in New Tecumseh. I was coming back to Etobicoke. I was driving to Brampton. One day I left the house. I think we left. The first showing was at 9 a.m. So I think I left
That's
around
early.
8:30. Yeah, first was showing. I got home at 10 o'clock at night. And my wife and I were talking. And I was sitting on the couch, and she was trying to talk to me. She goes, "Are you high?" I'm like, "No,
No, I'm
I
in
was
adrenaline
delirious.
overdrive.
I was just spent, and I had weeks like that. I was like,
Yeah.
and I would say like I'd have to do a day of recovery, and then I do it again, and I would do it again, and it was just I was overloaded, and then all of a sudden the market changed. Thank God,
Yeah.
a little bit after, like, and that's after this we're talking like 2021, 2022. It was nuts out there at that
Yeah.
time.
It was great though.
Ish.
I enjoyed that so much.
Yeah. Well, I don't mind the listing. It's less stress on the listing side, I found, but on the buying side, when you had some clients,
I didn't mind it.
Well,
I remember rushing
we had
over.
one property
Yeah.
in Oakville.
Yeah.
There was 63 offers on the property.
I love it.
63 fucking
the
offers. Are you kidding
adrenaline
me?
that I feel and that pasta or that donut that I get right after we accept one of those offers.
No.
Is like that adrenaline rush.
We
is
were the
why I
buying.
love it.
We were on the buy side. We were on the So I'm sitting there showing properties. My clients put in an offer. We're just sitting there, and I'm like, why my clients like, why do you keep looking at your phone? I'm like, every time I look at my phone, there's another 5 offers in a matter of 2 hours.
Your face says it all. You look traumatized.
It was horrible. Like my clients knew we probably weren't going to get it, but when you have 63 offers, like the market
it was a
so
challenging market.
above market value. It was at that time, by the time the sign was in the ground, you had fucking
was
a
gone
lineup
almost,
of people waiting.
How long
outside.
ago was that? Was it 2020?
21.
21, yeah, the peak, yeah. Yeah, it was crazy.
I still loved it. I thought the momentum was really fun. Like I remember running over my clients, like, I want to see a house. I'm like, offer presentations in 2 hours. I have a spray tan. I'm like, guys, I look crazy, heads up, but I'm coming and we're going to get this house. And we got the house.
Yeah. Well, it's nice when that happens, right? But
when it
one
happens
time-
often, you feel good.
Well, there's that one house we were talking about for my clients who looking in Georgetown. You had the listing. We were trying to see it.
Yeah.
They ended up buying something as semi just because because you had offers on that time. That's when the market started to cool a little
Yeah.
bit. We ended up getting a better house, no offense.
Yeah.
But even here, like,
Yeah, that the market was cooling back.
Yeah, and that's we were starting to convert because we were like, what are you guys finding? And then the market just all of a sudden cooled. We're like, okay, good for my clients because we were putting an offer on another house. No offense to Nima.
Yeah, no.
But it was
And
one
we
of those
still
things.
sold it. Don't worry.
Yeah, I
No
know you
offense
did. We did.
taken.
You guys,
We got lucky. with that.
but it's
I'm
funny. It's
joking.
like I like when we have agents. We're on the side, like, okay, we're not interested. He's like, okay, good. This place is a fucking piece of shit. And I'm like, all right. He goes, Dave, you don't understand the work we have to do. And it's like, and I'm like, and you get to hear the background of it too, because it's like we weren't even that close of friends back then. But it's like, but it was good to know. It was like, okay, we saw that too, right? It was one of those interesting markets, right?
How long did that take you to do the 63 offers in Oakville?
No, it wasn't me.
Oh, it
right?
wasn't
He
you?
was on
it
the
wasn't
buy
me.
side.
Yeah, it was on the side, but that took them a good. I think we had to submit 5. We didn't find
Till
out till
10.
11.
Because I remember back in the day when there was no DocuSign. So we're talking about probably 2017.
I wasn't here then. Yeah.
I started using it back then, though. I was
Oh,
one of
yeah?
the first ones to use it.
Oh yeah, we weren't using that. And I remember at the office, we had a lineup of people. We had 59 offers on a property. And
59.
like every week I had ones. I was usually hovering always between 25 to 35, but that one was 59. And I remember I called the client. I'm like, listen, there's 59, whoever's here. I'm like, going through the offers. Literally took us hour, 15 minutes. People like, how you walk people to the room to go through the offer. I told him, listen, I'm not sitting anyone on the desk.
He did a
I'm
live
just gonna
bidding
look at it.
war.
I'm just gonna tell him to go. He's like, oh, do whatever you want. Just show me whatever top 2 or 3, whatever you think it's good. I'm like, okay. Literally, I would just walk people through from the reception. We would go into the little hallway to go get to the boardroom number 6, and I would look at the price. If it wasn't, I'm like, listen, you gotta go. It's like, what do you mean you didn't go through the offer? I'm like, I'm looking at the price. We already have a higher one, so out. Literally, people were going
this was
crazy.
back then, not like this is not how
And
we
I told him, I'm like,
now.
listen, you know what? Like, you can't go through 59, and then if the guy I know, I've already seen a higher offer. So why do you want me to go through this? And
Well, remember those? Were you around? Because I got my license 2015, and I started trading maybe the middle of 15. But back in those days, we used to present everything in person.
Yeah.
Did you ever present anything in person?
I didn't, because that was the time, the
Oh,
pause
right.
in my transition. When I came to the office, I remember asking part of some of the agents, I was like, is there a fax machine? And they're like, oh, you're so cute. And I was like, oh, I guess I have to learn everything all over again, but great.
Yeah.
But it was funny because we would, so back in those days, I don't know if you know those stories. So we would literally walk up to a property. So you would show the property and they'd have an offer date and you would register your offer and you have to give your cell phone and there would be a lineup of cars.
Oh my God, I'm sad I missed that.
So there would be a lineup of cars, and then all of a sudden they would call you, and
Oh
you
my
see
God,
the agent, what
yeah.
they would look like, and they would take their. You had to have 4 copies with you, and you had your clients in the car with you because you would change on the fly. So you'd walk up to the and you go and you would present to the sellers. The sellers, you walk into the kitchen. And sitting down in the kitchen, there'd be the seller and the agent. Sometimes they'd have other family members there. So any decision makers were there.
Oh God.
And you would go in, and this is actually one bids this way, even though we were because you sell yourself and you sell your clients.
Yeah.
So I actually
in a way,
it.
yeah.
I love So Sam at the office always told me, she goes, you got it. And she told us how to massage some of these clients. Like she always told us present in person because it comes across a little better. You might not have the best number, but your personality will come through, right? So we line up, we go in, and then so you present, so we talk. So Sam told us how to do it. So you'd walk in and so say you're my clients and say you had 2 kids and you like the kitchen. So we say, oh, so you would take one piece of the house or something that really resonated with your clients, and you would boast about it and say, okay, my clients that come in, their family, you would talk about the family, you would massage
milk
what
it.
They love about, and you would milk it. And then you would slide each one of the offer and okay, we can walk through the offer, and you would physically walk through the whole offer, and you would bring in the deposit check, have it in hand, and you go, and then one by one, you see all the agents, and then they would call us back to see if they wanted a second round, and you would see cars leave, and you would
know instantly how well you're. I'd be knocking at the doors. You get out.
It was hilarious. And then at the end there, you'd come in and they would discuss about it, and then you come in and you would sign the deal. That's why you needed 4 copies then, because you would take that and then scan it and send to your office. So each once the sellers would get a copy, and everyone, and sometimes the sellers would meet right there and because they would be in the car with you. So the transaction was a little more personal back then.
That element is missing now, actually.
Yeah.
So
we try to bring it back I tried to put the letter in there with the picture of that.
Yeah.
And it gets you so
sometimes,
far. But you don't get the same personal touch to it that we used to have, right? Yeah. But again, now, I remember one time, even during COVID, I was working on 7 offers one day. And the next day, a couple of them worked out, and worked on another 7 offers. I couldn't bring everybody around there.
No.
Thank God DocuSign was allowed, right?
Yeah.
So that's the most I've ever dealt with in one day, because during those bidding war days, 7 offers in one day and then 6 the next day.
That's a lot.
13 offers in 2 days.
That's a lot even with DocuSign.
It was a lot. I had to remember which one was which. It's something you make sure you're sending it to the right agent. Yeah, it was crazy. And 2 of them I was listing on the side. So I was getting offers. They weren't even on bidding wars.
That's wild.
So I was going nuts. Yeah. And I didn't have an assistant back then.
Yeah, I don't know.
You guys should shake hands.
Yeah, I don't know how you can do this business without an assistant, because there's just way too much back end work, paperwork and things that are time consuming.
Just being on the road, you can't
it's too time consuming. And right now, especially with the traffic, I was every day right now for the last, I would say 3 months, on Sundays when I go out, I'm I used to do showings, let's say on Saturdays and Sundays, just so that there's no traffic. Right now, I just say no. On Sundays, there's no way I can get around town. It took me an hour to get to Palmerston. So
oh wow,
Jennifer Greenberg had, she's in the Don Mills office, and her and her husband. So it wasn't Sunday, it was Saturday. Sorry, Saturday, because we had the women's event here for the Mother's Day event. Nice. And I said, she goes to my client, she goes, she couldn't make it here. She goes, but could we see the property at 2:30? I'm like, sure. We did the mother. It took me usually 20 minutes.
Zip over there,
20 minutes. Yeah. It took me an hour. Every turn I fucking turn, and Waze is turn here. I'm traffic, and then there's
Waze is confused these days.
Oh, they have no idea what's going on. Yeah, and it's crazy. So I had to call up. I had to call him. I was like, I'm gonna be late. He goes, you're not the only one. And it was showings are until 3 o'clock. I show up I was 10 minutes late. I hate being late. And I thought I left enough time, and it drove me nuts. And the only one that made it on time was my client, because she walked to the property. That's could you imagine? I hate Toronto right now.
Park the car, walk.
Literally, a lot of times, I used to go, actually, funny enough, I don't know if you remember. So I used to do downtown showings, and for me to get around that, and this is before Uber X existed. So when you would call Uber, taxis would come at the beginning. It was called Lyft.
How old are you? I'm just joking.
So I used to actually call a driver to come pick me up at Don Mills for 4 hours, and then go take the client to showing, so that I could go from one corner to another. And this guy would just do loops around. We would go show the building, come back.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah. And then people loved it.
There's a lot of efficient things that Nima's done, like when you work pre-con in your early days, sitting in your car, taking the calls and running, as if he scheduled an appointment. But meanwhile, he's been sitting there all day waiting.
Yeah, no, I used to, a
lot of great things.
Nobu, I used to sit on, literally, I would be parked on Blue Jays, just around the corner, and someone called, hey, listen, there's Nobu. I'm like, yeah, what's going on? If you want to come down, check it out. Okay, let's go. I would because there's no way to get down there within 15 minutes, half an hour. So I remember for 2 weeks, it was me and My partner at the time, like
Yeah.
we just taking turns, just like being there because the traffic is just insane. Especially if you're downtown, like if you want to do showings. I mean, like
I'm downtown, so for him,
Devany
he's
does
like,
all the
Dad, go,
downtown
yeah.
showings. Like
And I skip over.
if someone wants to go downtown, she's the girl. And she knows all the condos. I remember back in the day when I used to go, like I would know all the condos where like they keep the lock boxes, all the amenities. Right now, the majority of the new condos, like I gotta go
there's
like
so
see
many.
it once.
There's so many popping up
There's
now.
so
I'll tell
many.
you, I know it's like people ask me this condom. I don't know anything about that one now. It's funny because you're right because we were getting, and I was telling people all the time when you're starting to get your license, do leases because you get to learn about a lot of properties when you're banging out those leases, especially
The ground
downtown. Yeah, so you can learn about that stuff and you know which ones not to go into. Like there's a lot of those listings. Like even now, like. So my agents will call me like, what do you know about this building? I'm like, stay away from that one, stay away from this one. But that's always good to know that as well. So on a side note, you've had a number of people working with you. Like, is it just the two of you now?
No.
No, we got.
I only see the two of you. How am I supposed to look at you? Well, besides your assistant,
everyone else,
and your assistant.
Yeah, everyone else is in the background. Like, although we tell them to come do recording and whatnot with us.
So how many people do you have working for you? Like
So-
again,
We're growing actually,
Yeah.
and continually. So like
so
we're
we
open to
got-
applications.
Yeah, so we got 2 other full-time agents right now. We got
Yeah.
another one that's hopefully joining our team soon as well. That's been like, I usually use them at the trial. So like, they're 3 to 6 months trial. We see if we get along. And then if, they're gonna do what they promise to do. And then
that's the parking.
That's
That's
parking. And then after that, they joined. So right now we got 4 agents and we got 1 full-time admin, 1 part-time admin.
Yeah.
Well,
And
what's the
hopefully
part-time
one
do?
more
What does
in the
part-time
background,
do?
making everything run
Yeah.
smoothly.
The part-time specifically, it's does a lot of our online advertising and whatnot. So like for example, assignments, right? Like you got to go respond to like crazy amount of messages when we post for assignments, and like literally I don't get the time to like go respond to these things. I used to do it like between 11 till 2 a.m.
We don't have the same amount of hours in a day. It doesn't
you
make
can-
sense,
yeah.
the things he gets to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because I had someone call me yesterday and they're like, they carried the conversation as if I was talking to them. I'm like, what are you calling about? It's like, yeah, we talked about this assignment. I'm like, where? He's like, on Facebook. I'm like, oh, that was not me. That was Vanna. But again, like that's
Different voice.
Different voice. Yeah.
But that's the only way you can do it. Like otherwise, like you're gonna be doing 10 things at a time.
Oh, I know. Well, I'm fine. It's just it's basically me and my assistant. Well, that's what we mostly do. And it's like even that for us, it gets to be a lot.
But you don't do any pre-con. Do you do pre-con?
I do some pre-con.
Like,
But it's like unless my clients we promote the pre-con stuff. But I'll be honest with you, and I talked to Jeff Sida about this too. I don't see a lot of value in them right now. It's hard for me to price to my clients. It's just when we're pricing it out, I'm like, this doesn't make sense. And they asked me would you buy it? I'm like, no. I'm like, I just bought 2 pre. Like I bought 4 pre-con, but 2 just came to fruition. And even now, I bought them one in 2019. I'm not making money on it. And I'm like, and the price was $800 a square foot. I'm like, you're charging $1,400 a square foot. How are you going to make money on this?
Yeah.
Going back to your point, though, it's all about like, how is the builder even going to make money on it if they don't sell at those prices?
Oh, I get it.
We're at a catch-up moment, I think.
Yeah, I'm not mad at the builders.
Yeah.
I'm like, so I had a friend of mine who's a developer, and we talked. Now he does purpose rentals, right? But we were talking about the price, and he goes, "I get my own family members yelling at me for development." He goes, so he runs the numbers. He goes, "We're not making as much money as you think." So it's like when people say, "Oh, the builders are greedy." No, it's not. They like first of all, everyone needs to eat, right? But he goes, but it's not as much money as people think, right? It's crazy.
Once you run the numbers, like they don't make that much money because
they don't make sense.
Taxes are just, like it's a huge portion of it. Development charges, taxes.
Talk about Trudeau again.
He's so triggering.
Oh, don't don't. We just went off. I have like a video which I just talked about how much he's like.
I just sent it to. I know the video.
Which video?
The one where he's talking about the capital gains.
Yeah,
and he sounds like a real.
The new one that just came out.
I haven't seen that one.
Your face.
The only thing I remember is the one that he talked about back in 2021, and someone said, "How are you gonna pay back all the spending?" And he's like, "Oh,
we'll just raise interest rates."
No, and he's like, "Oh no, the interest rates are at all-time low, and they're gonna stay like that for a foreseeable future for many years." 11 months later,
fucking guy,
like. It's crazy.
My favorite thing was, and that's people like, I talk about this because I bought in 2022. When we went for our mortgage, RBC gave us a great rate. We're at 1.15 because we were like, it was one of those things. And I ran the numbers and I was like, well, what's the fixed rate? And all the smarter people besides, and I've talked to this on the podcast before, my financial planner, my mortgage brokers, they all had different rates. They're all like, like, what are you worried about? Like, what's your fixed rate? Like, don't even look at fixed rate. The fixed rate was 2.59. So I'm like, well, the Bank of Canada and the idiot Justin Trudeau said that, we're not going to go more than 1%. I said, bull fucking shit. Let's do 2%. At 2%, we're at 3.15. Between 2.59, we'll still be kind of in the money by the time it gets there. They lied to us right in front of our face. Nobody anticipated that we went up 4%. I went from, now we pay a shitload in just interest only. So when people
You're variable, I'm guessing.
I'm variable.
Like everyone else.
Because nobody told us to take VIX. And then we're like, don't worry, because we all.
Because everyone
and you got 3 more years to go.
I got 3 more years to go. Yeah, I'm bent over right now.
I'm like, sorry.
They told everyone it's gonna stay like that for a long period of time. And right now, I mean, like, you can still afford it, but like there was an article yesterday that came out. This couple that bought a condo, and they're working 75 hours a week, and they can afford the mortgage because they got the mortgage at 1.5. Now they're paying 6.5%.
There was a guy that I was going to share it to, like, because we had somebody on my Instagram saying, she's actually in favor of Trudeau. It's not as bad, the economy.
And it actually, I don't know. Voting for him. I need the names.
I know. I'm going to beat them up. But it showed the actual income. The last 2 years in Canada, we've gone from like 73,000 household to down. We've actually lowered now to 70,500. And they ran the shelter cost for an average person. All of that money is going towards housing, living, shelter. They're like, survival.
Not living, yeah.
Not living. So they're like, of course people are complaining about groceries. Of course people, and you have this fucking clown saying that, the economy is the best it's ever been. The numbers actually don't show that.
No, at all.
Yeah.
Oh, but you compare us against the rest of the world. Listen, idiot. Don't compare us against the world. Compare you to you 2 years ago.
We're a laughing stock. If people, I don't know who travels, but when you travel now, we used to be like, oh my God, you're from Canada. Yeah. Now they laugh at us.
They call us the dictator. They call us a communist country. It's true. Or the dictatorship, basically. It's true.
It's pathetic.
It's pathetic.
What it is.
I know. Sorry, we could talk about this all day, but I know we have to wrap it up. I'm getting the wrap up. So, basically, guys, I want to get into just pull back in just for your followers and somebody else.
Reel it in. Yeah,
reeling it in for both of you. I want a little piece of advice. If somebody's looking to become a realtor, what kind of a piece of advice would you give them?
I think you should.
If you're looking to become a realtor, I think if anything you do, not just real estate, you gotta obviously love what you're doing and do it consistently. Like there's days that I wake up and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't feel like doing this, or I have so much to do. And just being consistent with little things, taking baby steps. So it doesn't matter what you're doing, real estate or otherwise, just take steps forward towards your goal and it will always work out. That would be my advice to someone starting real estate or anything.
It's great advice.
Yeah.
Being a realtor is overwhelming as it is, but being consistent is the key, because there are days you're going to wake up and not want to do anything. And that's the day you got to go back and, like for me, it's just about prospecting. So like every morning I wake up and I'm like, okay, you know what? Who do I have to call? I make the calls. And it's funny because once you get into the first 20 minutes, half an hour of it, that's it. You're good into it. But you're just getting yourself to pick up the phone and making those first few calls. But again, going back to it, it's just consistency. Because there's a lot of things you got to do. And when you think about it, you get overwhelmed. But, break it down and do it every day.
Like the work part is not the hard part. Like when I have a client, I got to show a home or list. That's not the hard part. We don't realize we're in the lead generating business.
Yeah.
It's finding the clients, generating the lead, not keeping them and driving it home.
Yeah, that's correct.
So
I love it.
Yeah.
So guys, for somebody who's looking to follow you guys, what's the best way for them to reach out or to follow you?
I think best way for both of us is Instagram. You can follow me at Nima Khadem on Instagram.
And I'm Devany_Zito.
There you go. Wow. Thanks, guys, for
Thank you for having us. This was lovely.
I was going to say thanks for having me, but I'm like, sorry, it's the other way around.
We're going to have you on our podcast.
Yes.
I'm in.
Love it.
And your podcast is as well? Like, is there your name?
It's
on YouTube, Reality Check. And we also have a Real Talk where we have guests come over and we talk about different topics. We talk a lot about Airbnb recently.
We love to chat.
Yeah.
Same. Well, it's Italian in us.
Yeah. He's practically an Italian now. Reformed.
Well, guys, thanks again for following and watching us. If you want, we always love for you to like and subscribe anywhere you follow your podcast. You can watch this podcast or listen to it. And we always ask for subscribe or make a comment or note or
show
maybe
some
ask
love.
some questions. Show some love. We love seeing that. If you want to follow me along on Instagram, you can follow at, I always forgot my own Instagram. It's David _realtor. We do have a link tree there, which will link you to all of the podcasts, everything. So if you want to listen to audio or if you want to watch on YouTube, it's great on the link tree there. But you can also follow along with all of my other social media there as well. Once again, thanks again for following along.
you.